After 2 years of hearings, testimony, and fact-finding, the Inspector General released its big report on how Fast and Furious got to be such a mess.
This failure, we found, reflected a significant lack of oversight and urgency by both ATF and the U.S. Attorney's Office, and a disregard by both for the safety of individuals in the United States and in Mexico.
417 pages in the report, and not once was Eric Holder held accountable. The report found he had no personal knowledge of the operation. No personal knowledge. If I'm the CEO of a company and I filed for bankruptcy, wouldn't I be the first to go? I mean, even though I'm not the guy who was physically sitting there with a calculator crunching the budget numbers. So why isn't Holder at least partially, let's just go partially accountable for his department's screw-ups? Let me bring in John Malcolm, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Hi, John.
Hi, Andrew.
I got to separate Operation Wide Receiver from Fast and Furious. Under the Bush administration, there were RFID chips in the guns, so they knew where they were going, not so much in Fast and Furious.
Well, there were attempts to put RFID chips in the guns in Operation Wide Receiver. There were other differences. For instance, there were some contacts that were ineffective with the Mexican government. So somebody within the Mexican government was aware of the fact that Operation Wide Receiver was going on. But look, it was not a well-run operation either. And the most important thing is that after 410 guns in Operation Wide Receiver managed to make their way into Mexico, ATF and the Department of Justice decided to double down by initiating Operation Fast and Furious with even less safeguards involved. The Mexican government knew absolutely nothing about Operation Fast and Furious until it was taken down. And of course, it wasn't taken down by Eric Holder. It was taken down when two guns appeared at the murder scene of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry in December 2010.
Let me ask you, what was the motivation? I mean, We're hearing that Eric Holder had no real personal knowledge. We've all seen that video of him from back in 1995. Funny, the Holder-Obama videos from the 90s are pretty viral these days. But he said we have to brainwash Americans out of their guns in that video. So, after certain shootings in the United States, there was no call for new gun laws. There were no calls for new gun bans. What was the purpose of this, if not to, gin up public outrage, to demand more gun laws?
Well, look, there is speculation that that was the purpose behind Operation Fast and Furious. There's nothing in the IG's report to support that. I think what was behind this was you had some ATF agents who were saying, we want to act like big boys. We want to act like the FBI and the DEA, and we want to go after the higher-ups in the Arellano Felix organization and the Sinaloa drug cartel, and we're going to do it through this gun smuggling operation. And they did that with a small ATF office, limited contacts with the Mexican government, no controls and no supervision by anybody, and things got way out of hand. I get to the bottom of each page of this 471-page report, and I'm a former DOJ official, and I shake my hand in sadness and also in just disgust and disbelief that this was allowed to go on and public safety was jeopardized to this degree.
All right, so let's say this. If Eric Holder's not to blame, should we at least be looking into his management of the Department of Justice? I mean, how did something like this go on right under his nose if he didn't, and him not know about it?
Well, Eric Holder is not covered with glory. Eric Holder testified, for instance, that his predecessor, Michael Mukasey, had been briefed about gun-walking operations. The report makes clear that wasn't true. Eric Holder also testified that once Operation Fast and Furious came to light, he reviewed the applications for the wiretap intercepts and saw no evidence of gun walking. Anybody who reads those applications, that is not, anybody who would read those would know gun walking occurred. And you're right, supervisors up and down the line had information about Operation Fast and Furious. They knew guns had been recovered from Fast and Furious at the Brian Terry murder scene, and they didn't say anything to Eric Holder. Now, what Eric Holder does about that remains to be seen. So far, it doesn't look like much.